And we are back, and we are joined here by my special guest. I just want to do a brief introduction, right? Like, there's some people that you meet in life that, they leave a permanent impression on you from the first time you meet them, where if you met this person, you've met them. Our guest is one of those people right there. He is basically a phenomenon onto himself, right? Like, for me to sit here and call him a host would be discrediting all that he does and what he brings to any stage, any platform that he steps on. So he's much more than that, right? A native New Yorker with family ties that go back to Barbados and the St. Kitts. I mean, he has seen some things when it comes to hip hop, right? I mean, someone that when you see a flyer and you see like certain acts on the bill, you're almost, at times, you are just as encouraged and as hyped to see him as it is to see the artists that he is hosting the show for. And who are some of these artists, right? So some of these artists he's hosted shows for, ranging from Kendrick Lamar to J. Cole to Bun B, Homeboy Sandman to Souls of Mischief. On and on. These are just a few of those people, right? But then not even just shows. We're looking at events and festivals from South by Southwest, A3C, to events with ASCAP, BMI, New School Rules. This brother is someone who will bring the same kind of energy to an event he is hosting, whether it be overseas in the Netherlands, to it being a small gathering of hip-hop heads at 529 in East Atlanta. Okay, we're talking about someone who has a handshake and a greeting that is a legend of his own. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud and happy to have my good friend and brother in the house, Fort Knox.
Yes, yes!
What's going on with you, brother?
I'm good, family. How you feeling, brother?
Hey, man, I feel really good, man. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, it's one of those things we just never really got a chance to sit down and talk. But I'm so happy to have you on the round table. You were someone who, from the genesis of me starting anything, you've always supported, regardless and everything. So I'm glad to have you actually here. Let's go back for a minute. I almost want to take it back, man, because coming from the Bronx, talk about just that beginning. I mean, because some people might not realize. I mean, you've put time in here in Georgia as well. I mean, talk about that migration. Did you do high school here? Did you do it in the Bronx? Or?
Well, it started in this manner. Born in the Bronx. My parents got divorced. I then moved to Long Island with my mother. She got with my stepfather. She married him in '86. We then moved to Stone Mountain. I was 11 at that time.
Wow.
So moving to Stone Mountain and my father still being here, it afforded me the opportunity. Let me say my father and my three sisters still being here.
Right.
It afforded me the opportunity to spend summers in New York.
Okay.
So I call it the best of both worlds.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also the reason why I still carry my New York accent.
Right.
Because I was going, school here during the year, summers up there, back and forth. And I still stay connected with NYC to that extent, and I stay connected with ATL. And it afforded me the opportunity to meet a lot of
Up and coming. Artists,
acts,
managers.
executives, before they
We're big.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that being the case, that time period sort of gave me a foundation here in the city.
And see, I just want to talk about that because, see, a lot of people, they don't have that ability to be able to, gauge from back and forth, right? So the fact that you were able to have those New York connections along with the Atlanta connections, but also too, I think the thing is that some people fail at it because they might not show respect to where they at, or just enjoy, or just soak it in, right? Like sometimes people are so concerned with being from somewhere else and not just enjoying and soaking in. Like clearly people can hear you, they're like, okay, this brother might be from New York, whatever, but I mean, there's not too many events or places in Atlanta where you're not known because you go to all these different events and show so much support, man. How has it been as far as like this making that connection and showing that love back?
Well, it's again, it goes back to the time period that I've been here. I mean, like Stone Mountain at the time was like it was to an extent a little New York.
Okay.
Earlier back then, because
right.
like we had a crew called Tri-State, and a lot of us were from New York, but we were also accepted by a lot of the people who were from Atlanta here.
Making moves, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, Atlanta was a melting pot then. You know what I'm saying? But it was a time period where, people were trying to, because New York was so dominant back then.
Right.
People were trying to be like New Yorkers. You know what I'm saying? It was the exact opposite of now.
Right.
Now you have, people trying to sound like, or artists trying to sound like the South. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People were trying to, I remember people mimicking a New York accent sounding exactly like from New York. You know what I'm saying? But they're from Atlanta.
Right.
You know what I mean? Exactly. You know what I mean?
But see, and that's interesting because, and I'm glad you could speak on that. And that's why I wanted to go back and talk about some of the history, right? Because the thing is that you being around these different events and seeing so many different things, you've seen patterns. And you see how things recycle. So sometimes, some people are surprised at how things work. But, like you said, you've seen some of these patterns and some of these things have happened. Why do you think now that Atlanta has become such a strong force after, like you said, for a while not having the identity to now being where Mecca with, music, film, producing, all that?
Nah. I gotta give not only Atlanta but the South its just due.
Okay, yeah.
Atlanta, the South period has been it's been a building. It's been a building force. You know what I'm saying?
The momentum.
The momentum has been building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could take it back to, the back in the days they used to have bass music. You know what I'm saying? Heavy.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then of course, Luke came in and was crazy with him and Two Live Crew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You keep it moving.
85 South DJs.
What? Stupid. You know what I'm saying? You keep it moving as far as once Dungeon Family. Outkast, right. Goody Mo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then of course UGK, 8 Ball and MJG.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's a great point.
The southern region, because of course it was at one time it was just East and West.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The South started it. They was like, wait a minute, we here, we're here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When Andre made that statement at the Source Awards,
yeah.
He wasn't just speaking for
Atlanta.
Himself or Atlanta. He was like the South. Like, you know what I mean?
That's true.
He was being the South spokesman. You know what I mean?
No, that's very true because you're right. He didn't say Atlanta has something to say. He said
not at all.
Said the South has something to say.
And because literally these acts are monstrous. Like, you know what I'm saying? And their track record speaks volumes. So it's not. I'm not talking and it's like, well, maybe. Nah. when you have songs like Big Pimpin' and Jay-Z and you just get, like when you have matchups like I'm Fly and 3-6 Mafia and no.
Real quick, just to build on that, because what you're saying also too, and we here at the Roundtable, we love talking about relationships and networking, connecting. These artists, they work together, right? Like, so Bun B and the UGK, the people do things together. We were just talking off camera about how so often we see, even here now to current day, people don't want to work together and group together or work on a project or to shout somebody out or just create the momentum. Because one thing about momentum, versus speed, right? Like, a lot of people don't understand that momentum. My good friend Patty always talks about this. He's a physics major, right? Because you can have a roller skate, going the same speed as a Mack truck, but at the same time, the momentum of that Mack truck, when it hits you, it's a done deal. And I think that's far too often. You have too many people out here, on a single level being roller skates, and they running at a high speed, but then they wonder why somebody else, who's running at the same speed, or even not even as fast. But when they hit, they're like, man, why they hit like a mad truck? Because, like you said, they galvanize the people. They got everything together. They put these things, and we just want to see more Mack trucks than roller skates, man. And I think the South really did a good job of that.
Oh, most definite, and it's continuing to,
Yeah, they haven't stopped.
And overall, musically speaking, like, all regions are stepping up. Out west, you have Nipsey Hussle, Dom Kennedy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Too Short just dropped Pimp Tape after
20 years.
Yeah. Come on. Like what's going on? He's like I'm not done. You know what I mean?
And real quick too, just to build on that, like you talking about somebody coming out the Bay. And the Bay supports each other. The Bay.
Thank you.
Regardless of what you're doing, they're gonna put that time and effort in. Man, listen, we're gonna take a quick break because me and Ford will be here we'll be talking all night. You know what I'm saying? So listen, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Odell's Roundtable.
Respect.